The time is precisely 1:15 p.m. This is the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. News edited by Catherine Pereira and read by Chandima Veerakorn. Headlines. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that President considers everybody equal from Devundara to Pedru Point when implementing the COVID eradication program. Secretary to the media says plans have been made to create a better media culture. 61 persons have been taken into custody for violating quarantine rules. A program to cultivate maize in the Hambantota district has commenced. US President Biden says White House cooperation sincere. Local stories in detail. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that all community in Parliament should be in one policy when dealing with international community. Participating in the budget debate in Parliament today, he said that the President is considering everybody equal from Devundara to Point Pedro. The vote on account for the Ministries of Foreign Affairs, Media and State Ministry of Regional Cooperation is being debated in Parliament today. Joining in the debate, parliamentarian Lakshman Kiriyella said that ambassadors who can deal with the international community should be appointed. Health Minister Pavitra Wanyarachchi said that about 11,000 PCR tests are being carried out daily. A program to encourage farmers for maize cultivation in the Hambantota district has commenced. Environment Minister Mahinda Amaraweera said the necessary maize seeds will be provided to the farmers in Mattala tomorrow. He made these remarks at a discussion held at his ministry yesterday. The objective of this program is to enhance the local food production process. Police media spokesman DIG Ajit Rohana says that 73,884 persons from the 27,974 families are being self-quarantined. Meanwhile, 61 persons have been taken into custody for violating quarantine rules yesterday. He also stated that school children should also follow health guidelines in schools. He emphasized the need to act in accordance with the quarantine rules. The national operation to prevent the spread of COVID-19 says that 458 COVID-19 infected persons have been identified by this morning. Out of this number, 259 infected persons from the Colombo district, 78 from the Kalutara district, and 23 from the Gampaha district were reported. The overall infected persons from the Minuwangoda and the Paliagoda fish market reached 17,432. Out of this number, 11,156 persons have left the hospitals after recoveries. The number of COVID-infected persons reported from the country yesterday stands at 20,965. Meanwhile, 197 persons have arrived in the island and all of them were directed for quarantine. Sri Lanka's COVID-19 death toll now stands at 94. This news comes to you from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation. Former Director of the Criminal Investigation Department, CID, Shani Abesekara, has tested positive for COVID-19. Abesekara is currently being held under remand custody at Mahara Prison. He was recently arrested over a case of fabricating evidence and an investigation is currently ongoing over the matter. The Arachi Kattua police station has been temporarily closed after 2 police personnel attached to the station tested positive for COVID-19. Arachi Kattua Police OIC said all police personnel attached to the police station and close contacts have been sent for self-quarantine. Secretary to the Media Ministry Jagat P. Vijayveera says that the necessary measures have been taken to prepare policies to create a better culture in the media field in accordance with the Saubhagya Dakma program of the government. He said that the digitalized media will be introduced to the media sector with the support of Japan in future. To end the local news, the headlines again. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that President considers everybody equal from Deundara to Point Pedro when implementing the COVID eradication program. Secretary to the media says plans have been made to create a better media culture. 61 persons have been taken into custody for violating quarantine rules. A program to cultivate maize in Hambantota district has commenced. That ends the local news.
A mother knows the pain of each member of the family. Siddhalepa, the trusted relief for aches and pains.
An effective therapy for relief from cold, sneezing, flu, headaches, swelling due to toothaches, rheumatic, discomforts, and muscular aches and pains. Siddhalepa, the Veda Mahatmya in every home.
The main news story is brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya.
On the main news story, District Secretary of Mannar, Nadini Stanley Dimel, says that concessions have been given for the families who are in self-quarantine in the Mannar district. The government has spent 615,000 rupees for the purpose. This has been revealed at a discussion held to look into the COVID-19 situation in the district. That ends the main news story.
The main news story was brought to you by Siddhalepa Veda Mahatmya. Brush your teeth twice a day for healthy teeth and gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, your trusted brands in oral care for many years.
Supiriviki Ayurvedic toothpaste for adults. Kakulu Ayurvedic toothpaste for kids. 9 Ayurvedic ingredients of Supiriviki will protect your teeth and strengthen your gums. Supiriviki and Kakulu, products from Siddhalepa.
Moving on to Watch Light. Health Services Director General Asela Gunawardena requests the people living in Colombo area that they can buy their pharmaceutical items by forwarding their clinic books to the nearest police barrier. At present, several areas in the Colombo Municipal Council city limits have been isolated. He also notified the people who are receiving treatment for high blood pressure, diabetes and other diseases to register at the nearest clinics. He further stated that the mobile health services are being carried out in isolated areas. That ends Watch Light. Moving on to world news, the headlines. US President Biden says White House cooperation sincere. Japanese Prime Minister Suga to meet with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang. New deal to secure oil tanker abandoned off Yemen. US President-elect Joe Biden has said outreach from the White House over the transition has been sincere. It has not been begrudging so far. He spoke as they unveiled his choice of top officials for when he takes over from Donald Trump in January. Mr. Trump finally agreed to allow the formal transition process to begin on Monday, nearly 3 weeks after the presidential election. Yet he still refuses to admit defeat, repeating unsubstantiated claims that the 3rd November vote was rigged. Japanese Prime Minister Suga Yoshihide will meet with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang Yi in Tokyo later today. Japan is aiming to continue high-level bilateral talks. Wang is the first Chinese high-ranking official to visit Japan since the launch of Suga's cabinet. The meeting comes at a time when concerns are growing over China's maritime activities in the East and South China Seas. Human rights issues in Hong Kong have also become an agenda. Yesterday, Wang met with Japanese Foreign Minister Motegi Toshimitsu. Motegi and Wang agreed that two nations will work together to control the coronavirus pandemic. Houthi rebels have agreed to allow a UN mission to inspect and secure an abandoned oil tanker off Yemen's Red Sea coast, the UN has announced. The FSO Safer will load with more than 1 million barrels of crude oil, and experts have warned of an environmental catastrophe if the vessel breaks apart. The tanker has had virtually no maintenance since the start of Yemen's devastating civil war 5 years ago. UN spokesman Stefan said the work could begin early next year. The rebels reached a deal granting a UN team access to the tanker in July, but the decision was never implemented. To end the world news, the headlines again. US President Biden says White House cooperation sincere. Japanese Prime Minister Suga to meet with Chinese Foreign Minister Wang. New deal to secure oil tanker abandoned off Yemen. That ends world news. On development news, the construction work of the agricultural faculty complex of the Sabaragamu University has begun. 798 million rupees will be spent for the construction work. The 6-storied building is comprised with 8 laboratories with modern facilities. It is expected to complete the building complex within 2 years. And on sports news, Pakistan's young skipper Babar Azam has said that captaincy is a tough job, but he is ready for the challenge and will play aggressive cricket. Speaking in an interview, Babar said the New Zealand series will be a challenging one for sure, but added that he is confident about facing the challenge. That ends sports news.
Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. NSV Wings. Recharge the high goals.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
On business news, official data shows that several free trade deals with Asia and Pacific has generated sharply more exports than imports in the first 6 months of 2020, with the Indo-Lanka Free Trade Agreement bringing most of the results. Sri Lanka had exported 52.3 billion rupees of goods, or 239% of imports of 21.8 billion rupees through 4,883 goods under concessions. Data from the Finance Ministry showed.
Business News. Sponsored by National Savings Bank. The safest place for your money.
The wait is over and it's time for you to experience happiness. It's time to remap the graph for success. It's time to rebuild your empire. It's time to initiate your entrepreneur dreams. Empower your dreams with NSV Wings. Get your 2-year personal loan for just 7% per annum, starting from 500,000 rupees to 10 million rupees. All you need is just one guarantee. NSV Wings. Recharge the high goals.
Economic news, courtesy of...
Congratulations on your promotion. It will be our treat, huh?
How about today?
Oh no, I was just joking.
It's fine. I have my LOLC credit card with me. Let's go out today.
Introducing LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
On economic news, the Asian Development Bank has approved a $165 million loan to Sri Lanka to provide immediate financing support for small and medium enterprises, which have been severely affected by the coronavirus disease pandemic, and long-term financing to underserved SMEs, including businesses led by women and tea smallholders.
Hello, Puta. Did you land already?
We're in transit and our flight got delayed.
How is Shani? Poor thing with her pregnancy.
Calm down, everything is sorted. Why, I have my LOLC World Card with me. We are at the VIP lounge.
LOLC Finance Credit Cards. Fuel the goodness in you.
And finally, on the weather report, the Met Department says the cyclonic storm Niva over southwest Bay of Bengal is intensified into a severe cyclonic storm and located near north and east yesterday, 230 kilometers to the east of Kankasanturai coast. It is very likely to intensify into a very severe cyclonic storm and expected to move northwards and cross Tamil Nadu coast, India during next 24 hours. Under the influence of this system, very strong gusty winds of 60 to 80 kilometers per hour can be expected in northern, eastern and north-central provinces. Strong gusty winds of about 40 to 50 kilometers per hour can be expected elsewhere. Cloudy skies can be expected over northern, north-central, northwestern and western provinces. Showers or thundershowers will occur at times in northern and north-central provinces and in Puttalam district. Fairly heavy falls above 75 millimeters are likely at some places. Showers will occur at several places in western, Sabaragamu and central provinces and in the Kurunegala and Galle districts. To end this bulletin of news, the headlines again. Minister Dinesh Gunawardena says that President considers everybody equal from Deundara to Point Pedro when implementing the COVID-19 eradication program. Secretary to the media says plans have been made to create a better media culture. 61 persons have been taken into custody for violating quarantine rules. A program to cultivate maize in the Hambantota district has commenced. US President Biden says White House cooperation sincere. That ends this bulletin of news from the Sri Lanka Broadcasting Corporation.